Space was normally quiet around the small alien research station named Harlan 7. It floated near the edge of known charts, where the stars were fewer and the dark was deeper. For months, nothing unusual had happened. The station crews followed routines, scanning empty space, collecting dust data, and sending simple reports to their higher council. Life was boring but peaceful. The main control room was shaped like a dome, filled with soft blue lights and round screens. Several alien researchers sat at their desks, their eyes half-focused on their monitors. Their skin was smooth and pale, and they wore light work suits. They enjoyed calm days, and today looked like every other day. One researcher, Rollo, yawned softly. He was young and easily excited, but after many weeks of quiet work, he felt sleepy. He pressed buttons on his screen and watched the scanner sweep across space. It picked up small pieces of rock and ice, nothing else. He whispered to himself, empty again. Across the room, senior scientist Drin floated slightly in low gravity. He was older and had small horns on his head. He didn't like lazy work, so he checked every number carefully. Keep scanning, he ordered. Our duty is important. Even silence teaches us something, Rollo nodded. He respected Drin, even if the older scientist seemed strict. But deep down, all of them hoped something interesting would happen, at least once. Hours passed. Screens glowed. Numbers rolled. Nothing new. Then, without warning, Rollo's screen flashed. It was so fast, only one blink, and then it was gone. Rollo blinked, confused. Had he imagined it? He stared at his data again. A strange new line appeared in the report, then vanished. He whispered, Drin. Something happened. Drin drifted over and studied the logs. The numbers were strange. They showed a massive object, far larger than any known ship or asteroid, but the signal lasted only a heartbeat. Drin rubbed his chin slowly. Run the scan again, Rollo did. Nothing showed. The space was clear. Still, Drin frowned. He trusted machines more than boredom. Save the data. Keep scanning. The commander of the station, Cellar, entered just then. She was calm and thought carefully before speaking. Her uniform was darker, showing rank. What is happening? She asked. Rollo explained quickly. Cellar listened without a word, but her face tightened slightly. She asked, was there any movement? Drin replied, if the scan is correct, yes. Something huge passed the edge of our range, but it appeared and vanished very fast. Sailor tapped the screen gently. Could it be a scanner error? It was possible. Scanners sometimes glitched because of dust storms in space, but Drin shook his head. The pattern is too clean. It has the shape of something built, not natural. Cellar gave a slow nod. Continue scanning. If the object returns, I want to know. The hours stretched. The crew became tense. They jumped at small beeps, expecting another alert. Rollo sipped water nervously and kept his eyes on the scanner display. Finally, another blink appeared. It was faster than the first. The screen flashed, showing the same strange shape, then nothing. The crew gasped together. Drin raised his voice. Not an error, it is real. And it is moving faster now. Sealer's hands trembled slightly, though she kept her voice calm. How large? Rollo replayed the frozen data. His voice was thin. Larger than 3 command ships combined. Sealer stared at the numbers. Impossible. Nothing that big can move that fast, Drin shook his head. Unless their engine technology is far better than ours. Silence filled the room. Everyone thought the same thought, but did not want to say it aloud. A new empire? A new enemy? Cellar walked slowly to the middle of the dome. Alert all departments. Everyone on standby. And open a channel to the council. They must know. The alarm lights blinked across the station. Crew members ran through halls, their steps echoing. Some were frightened. Some were excited. Unknown signals in quiet space never meant something small. In the control room, Drin and Rollo watched the scanner carefully. Hours passed again, but the object did not return. Some began to relax, thinking maybe the danger had passed. Then the scanner beeped once more, loud enough to startle everyone. This time the signal held for 2 heartbeats. Data streamed across the screen, showing clearer outlines. The object was moving toward their region. Faster now, Cellar stood still. Distance? 500 million kilometers, Rollo answered. But closing quickly. Speed? Drin stared. Impossible speed. Faster than any known drive, Sailor whispered. We cannot outrun something like that. Panic rippled through the crew. It felt like a storm rolling closer. In the engineering bay, workers prepared the station's shields. They checked power lines and reactor levels. They whispered rumors. Maybe it's just a comet. No comet moves like that. Maybe it's an asteroid pushed by odd gravity. No object that size disappears and reappears. Details twist in fear. Everyone imagined what they did not know. The council took too long to answer. They believed it might be an error. Their message was slow and polite. We do not see confirmed danger. Continue observation. Seller was not pleased. She sent them the new data. She insisted this was real, but the council trusted their comfort more than a quiet station at the far edge. So the crew was alone. Rollo's hands shook as he monitored the next scan. The object blinked again. This time it was inside the outer ring of their system. Closer than ever, Drin's face lost color. It is slowing, Sailor whispered. In normal space now. It wants to be seen. The screens finally snapped into clarity. A massive ship was shown. Dark gray armor covered its hull. Heavy plating shaped like wings guarded its sides. Its engines glowed strong like burning suns. But most shocking of all was the symbol on its front, a stylized shape of a planet. The mark of a place remembered in distant stories, Terran. The crew spoke the name like a story from childhood. Some legends said humans traveled beyond the galaxy many years ago, exploring the far unknown. Some said they were lost forever. Some said they evolved stronger than anyone. No one ever expected them to return. Sealer raised one hand. Do not panic. Humans have helped many in the past, but we do not know their purpose now. Drin added. Their ship is massive, far stronger than anything here. Rollo gulped. What do we do? Seller breathed slowly. We send a welcome message, and we hope they answer kindly. She instructed communications to open a channel. They sent words of greeting into space, hoping the giant ship would listen. For several long seconds, nothing happened. The crew held their breath. Then the screen flickered. A figure appeared, a human officer in clean armor, standing calm and straight. His eyes were steady and his voice was respectful. He spoke only 6 words. We detected danger. Do not fear. Then the transmission ended, no details, no threat, but no explanation either. The alien crew did not know what to believe. Sailor whispered, Prepare the station. Something else is out there. Drin ran the scan again, searching for unusual signals. After a moment, he gasped. There is something hiding inside that asteroid. A living machine. It will wake soon. Rollo stared wide-eyed. Without the Terran arrival, we would not have seen it. Sailor finally understood. Humans did not come to attack, they came because of danger. She gave a firm nod. Then we trust them. For now. Outside, the massive Terran ship moved into position. Its heavy armor shifted as if ready for battle. Engines hummed like deep thunder. The alien researchers watched from their windows. Their hands pressed to the glass, fear mixed with awe. They had never seen such power. In that silent moment, everyone understood something important. The galaxy was changing. Night cycle came across the station. Lights dimmed, but no one slept. Crew members gathered in small groups, whispering, What if humans are too strong now? What if they leave after saving us? If they can see danger we cannot, what else do they know? These questions echoed through the halls. Rollo walked alone to the control room, staring at the stars. He felt small but excited. Something great was happening. Something that might decide the future of many worlds. Drin floated beside him, quiet. He said softly, Humans. I did not think they would return. Not like this, Rollo nodded. Maybe they changed. Maybe they learned something new. Drin added, Power does not always mean harm, but it always demands respect. At that moment, alarms flashed again. The alien machine parasite hidden in the asteroid woke for 1 second, just one blink, but it was enough. Its signal roared like a storm across the scanner. Sealer shouted commands. Shields at full. Prepare for defense. In the window, lights flashed as the Terran ship activated its weapons. The silent space was no longer silent, and everyone realized this was only the beginning. After the first shocking wake-up of the hidden machine parasite inside the asteroid, the station, Harlan 7, remained tense. The unknown danger, combined with the arrival of a massive Terran ship, kept every alien crew member nervous. For a short time, nothing else happened. But everyone knew that silence after danger never meant peace, it meant waiting. The alarms quieted, but fear stayed like cold air. Commander Seller paced inside the control dome, her steps slow and thoughtful. She tried to keep calm for her crew, even if her heart was heavy with worry. The Terran ship hovered far outside the station, motionless as if watching something unseen. Senior scientist Dryn floated beside a screen full of strange symbols. He studied energy readings from the asteroid. Bright yellow waves pulsed deeper inside its crust. "The parasite is changing," he whispered. "It is trying to wake fully." Rollo, the young researcher, frowned at his own console. He checked scans again and again, hoping to see friendly numbers but seeing only rising energy spikes. "How can something hide so deep?" he asked. Dryn replied quietly, "Old technology. Very old. It sleeps for centuries, then rises suddenly." Sealer rubbed her forehead. "Why would anyone create a machine like that? A parasite that hides and grows?" Dryn's answer was dark. "Maybe to erase life slowly. Maybe to weaken rivals," Rollo gulped. He never imagined such danger in calm space. Outside, tiny pieces of the asteroid broke and floated away, pulled by invisible forces. More signals pulsed from below its rocky skin. Soon, the parasite might break free. Sealer turned to communications. "Send message again to the Terran ship. Ask if they can explain more." A young officer nodded and opened a channel. A gentle tone rang through the speakers. But minutes passed with no answer. The crew became more tense. "Maybe they left," someone whispered. "No," said Dryn. "They are still there, watching." The council finally responded to earlier reports, but their message disappointed everyone. The council members spoke calmly through hologram screens. "We have studied your data," their leader said, "but we think the situation is smaller than expected. Continue observation. We will send assistance later." Sealer's jaw tightened. Later? We may not have a later council. But the hologram already flickered away. The council did not feel the fear pressing on the station. Dryn muttered, "They live far away from danger. It blinds them." Rollo clenched his hands. "They must trust us." Seller shook her head slowly. "Sometimes leaders forget when danger is small on their own doorstep." She turned back to her crew. "We stand alone. But we must not panic." Hours stretched again. Time felt like thick water. The control dome was quiet except for soft beeps from scanners. Crew members barely spoke, afraid to break the silence. Suddenly, another blink. The scanner burst with bright colors like a flash of lightning. Data flooded across every screen. The parasite inside the asteroid spread long metallic arms through cracks like a plant growing fast. Tiny sparks appeared along those arms. Rollo stared wide-eyed. "It is building energy. It will break the rock soon." Dryn slapped a button to zoom in, and when it breaks free, it might copy itself. "Spread to nearby stations." Sealer's voice became sharp. "We cannot allow that." But what could they do? Their station was not a warship. Their laser cannons were meant to break small rocks, not fight ancient machines. Suddenly, screens flickered again. The Terran ship sent another message. The same human officer appeared, calm as before. "You must hold position," he said. "Do not fire. The energy signature is old. Its shield will activate if attacked." Sealer stepped forward. "Can you stop it?" The officer nodded slightly. "Yes, but we must wait until its shield is exposed." Dryn blinked. "Exposed?" The officer explained. "When the parasite reaches final growth, its shield core opens for exactly 1 second. That is our window," Rollo gasped. 1 second? 1 blink?" The officer nodded. "We trained for this." The message ended again. The Terran ship remained silent, but now everyone understood. If they fired early, they would fail. The crew prepared anyway. Engineers checked power lines. Technicians calibrated sensors. Medics stayed ready in case the station shook. Solar gathered her officers. "We must trust the Terrans' experience. They know this technology. We do not." Some officers were uncertain. What if they miss the blink? What if the parasite spreads anyway? What if humans are wrong? Selar raised her hand. "Doubt does not save lives. Calm minds do." Her voice steadied them. Another hour passed. Then another. The asteroid glowed brighter. Cracks grew like rivers. The parasite moved faster now. Energy swirled around the rock like sparks from a fire. Rollo started to sweat. "It is soon," Dryn nodded. "Very soon." Outside the window, the Terran ship stirred. Panels opened like wings. Long cannons extended, humming with power. Drones left its belly, glowing with soft blue thrusters. They moved into formation. Every alien crew member stared in shock. "Those weapons, we have never seen anything like that," whispered a young engineer. Drin replied, "They went further than we ever dared." The drones shone brighter and brighter until their shapes blurred in white light. They hovered perfectly still like guardians. Suddenly, a soft tremor shook the station. The asteroid cracked down the center. A beam of purple light spilled out. Rollo shouted, "Shield core exposed!" But Drin yelled back, "Not yet! That is only the first stage." The purple light pulsed once, twice, and then glowed steady. Drin whispered, "Now." Outside, the Terran drones shot forward faster than the eye could follow. They fired one long beam combining their energy. It struck the heart of the parasite. The shield core flickered, just one blink. Then the parasite's energy lines shattered. The metallic arms froze. Cracks spread through its body like ice breaking under pressure. The asteroid broke apart in silence. The danger ended. Inside the station, cheers erupted. Crew members hugged. Some cried with relief. Rollo collapsed back into his seat, shaking with leftover fear. They did it. In one blink. Drin nodded slowly, admiring the precision. Their training must be beyond anything we imagine. Seller exhaled deeply. Send message of gratitude. Communications sent a message immediately. Thank you. We owe our lives. But the Terran ship did not respond. It quietly retrieved its drones and closed its panels. It remained silent, watching as if waiting for something else. Seller frowned. Why did they not leave? Is there more danger? Drin checked new scans. His face went pale. The parasite was sending signals. Rollo asked, to where? Drin pointed beyond the edge of the star system. Another asteroid. Same signature, sleeping. Sealar's breath caught. How many? Drin's fingers moved fast. Scans pinged across nearby space. Numbers appeared, 1, 2, 4, 8. 8 sleeping parasites. Rollo's voice trembled. If they all wake, this entire region could fall. The room fell silent again. Instead of relief, a new fear bloomed. Outside, the Terran ship turned slowly, aiming its nose toward the second asteroid. Its engines pulsed with blue fire, Seller whispered. They knew. They planned this, Drin nodded. They saw what we could not. Rollo asked softly, how far have humans traveled? What have they seen? Sailor answered, enough to know danger early. The station watched as the Terran ship launched more drones. They flew toward the next asteroid. Each move was clean, practiced, silent. The aliens watched with awe. The drones scanned the second parasite, finding weak spots. They fired again, exact timing. The parasite exploded without waking fully. Then a third asteroid, a fourth. Each attack lasted seconds. The drones moved like flowing light, destroying sleeping threats before they could become storms. Sailor whispered, this is more than power. This is responsibility, Drin agreed. Humanity has changed. Finally, after the 8th parasite was gone, the drones returned. The Terran ship closed its armor again. Then a new message arrived. The same human officer appeared. The region is secure, he said. We leave you with improved scanner codes. Use them. Do not ignore small pulses. They are warnings, Sailor bowed slightly. Thank you. We will continue learning, the officer nodded once. Prepare. More will come, not here, but out there. Then the screen went dark. Engine lights flared. The Terran ship pulled away, slowly building speed. It bent space around itself, warping into a streak of silver light. Then it vanished. One blink, and gone. Almost every crew member stayed silent, watching empty space where the humans had been. They felt small but not weak. They felt protected but also challenged. Rollo whispered, someday, maybe we can stand beside them. Drin smiled softly. That is the right dream. Sealer placed her hand on the window. Stars glowed quietly in the dark. The false calm is over, she said. Now we know what sleeps beyond the charts. And somewhere far beyond, a Terran ship flew into deeper unknown space, not as conquerors, but as guardians. After the Terran ship disappeared into the quiet dark, Harlan 7 felt strangely empty. The excitement, the fear, and the desperate hope all faded, leaving calm silence again. But this was not the peaceful silence from before. Now it felt like silence before a lesson, new and heavy. Commander Sailor stood in the control dome with her hands behind her back. She stared at the star field where the humans vanished. A quiet sigh escaped her chest. "We saw the galaxy change today," she whispered. Young researcher Rollo was not calm. He bounced from screen to screen, checking data logs, scanning the destroyed asteroids, and replaying the Terran ship's maneuver patterns. His eyes burned from staring, but he refused to rest. Senior scientist Drin observed from a corner, his hands folded thoughtfully. "You admire them," he told Rollo. Rollo nodded without shame. "Yes, they saved us and the whole system. Their power is amazing." Drin smiled faintly. "Power is nothing without discipline. And they showed discipline." Sailor turned, her voice gentle but firm. "Do not build legends too quickly. Today they helped us, but we must understand them, not worship them." Rollo swallowed and nodded. She was right. Respect, not blind admiration. The next cycle, the station continued normal work. Or at least they tried. The crew felt different now. Every beep from the scanner made hearts jump. Every shadow in space looked suspicious. Drin ran fresh scans across the system. His screens glowed with green waves and clean graphs. "All parasites are destroyed," he said calmly. "No new signals," Sailor nodded, pleased. "Good. That gives us time to adjust." But calm never lasted long. A soft alarm chimed. Different from before, not danger but connection. Rollo blinked at his monitor. "Transmission coming. Low power. Very far away." Sailor walked to his chair. "Open it." The screen flickered. Static-filled audio. Slowly, a blurry image appeared. Another alien station from a distant sector. Their commander's skin was darker and his uniform carried burn marks. "Is this Harlan 7? His voice trembled. Sailor nodded. "Yes, what is your situation?" The commander looked frightened. "We detected parasite signals too. One woke and damaged a mining platform. We lost our intercept drones. We need data on defense. Please share your new scanner codes." So the danger was spreading faster than expected. Sailor didn't hesitate. "Transferring now." She tapped her console. Drin whispered, "This will save them." Rollo quickly packaged the Terran scanner upgrade and sent it through the secure link. The distant commander sighed with relief. "Thank you. We had no idea these machines could hide so well." Sailor nodded gently. "None of us did." The signal ended and the screen went black. Rollo exhaled heavily. "More sleeping parasites in other systems. We only saved this one." Drin stroked his chin thoughtfully. "Which means the Terrans are not hunting one nest." Sailor finished his thought. "They are hunting a swarm." Hours later, the council finally sent another message. This time their voices were urgent. "Harlan 7, we have received reports from 3 stations. Parasite activity confirmed. We request full information on the Terran intervention." Sailor looked tired, but she kept her tone respectful. "We shared everything earlier, but you dismissed it." The council leader cleared his throat awkwardly. "We were wrong. Now many systems are sending distress calls." Drin folded his arms. "The Terrans already moved to stop it." The council leader frowned. "We do not accept humanity's return lightly. We do not know their goals." Sailor stared straight into the camera, then asked, "Do not fear shadows." The council paused. Then, "Send us exact coordinates of the Terran ship's last jump." Sailor shared the data, though she wondered if the council would approach calmly or with suspicion. After the call ended, Drin said, "They do not trust humans." Sailor nodded. "Trust must be grown, never forced." The station entered rest cycle. Lights dimmed and crew relaxed in their rooms. But Rollo could not sleep. He wandered the quiet halls thinking about the giant Terran ship, its engines, its drones, its silent power. He stopped near a window, placing his hand on the glass. Stars looked peaceful, but now he knew hidden danger could sleep anywhere. A soft voice came from behind. Drin floated near, quiet like a shadow. "Still awake?" Rollo nodded. "I keep thinking, if there are more parasites out there, how many systems are in danger?" Drin sighed. "Maybe many. Lost centuries ago in the dark, waiting." Rollo asked, "Why did no one detect them before?" Drin answered, "Sometimes danger waits in old wounds." Rollo frowned, confused. "Old wounds?" Drin explained. "Long ago, there was a war far greater than history books describe. Machines were released like seeds. When the war ended, their creators vanished. But the seeds remained." Rollo's voice shook. "And now they wake again." Drin nodded. because time never heals if we do not clean the wound. The next day, Harlan 7 received another signal, this time from a military defense fleet nearby. A captain appeared on the screen, strong and stern. We saw the Terran ship. We tracked its warp path. We planned to intercept and question. Sailor's eyes widened. Intercept? Question? They just saved our system. The captain's expression was cold. Exactly. We must know how strong they are. Power can turn. Drin stepped forward. That is dangerous thinking. They are more advanced than us. Be careful, but the captain dismissed him. Our fleet is large. They will answer us. The screen cut immediately. Rollo bit his lip. This is bad. If they attack or threaten, Seller raised a calm hand. We cannot control others' fear. We can only control our own choices. Several hours passed in tense silence. The military fleet moved across nearby space. Their warships gleamed like knives. Rollo stared at new signals. They are close to human warp trail, Drin whispered. The Terrans will see them first. Seller watched her screen quietly. Something heavy weighed on her heart. Suddenly a new message arrived, not visual, only audio. A human voice, calm, firm. Alien fleet approaching at high speed. We advise you to change course. You are entering restricted zone. The fleet captain responded sharply. We will continue forward. We demand information on your weapons. Drin shook his head slowly. Demanding from the powerful is never wise. The human officer replied, his tone unchanged. We are not enemies, but we must maintain safe distance. Last warning. The fleet ignored it. Warships accelerated. Rollo whispered, please, do not do this. Then something unexpected happened. The Terran ship appeared from warp, not in front of the fleet but between them and the path forward. It moved silently, without aggression. Its engines glowed like soft blue suns. The fleet captain shouted, prepare weapons. Sealer gasped. No, that will end terribly. But before any firing happened, the Terran ship acted in a peaceful but unmistakable way. It powered a shield bubble around all nearby space. Soft blue ripples spread. The fleet's engines shut down. Weapons powered off. Systems froze gently, not harming anyone. Ships drifted, harmless as feathers. The human officer spoke again. We do not seek conflict, but we will not allow reckless approach. Listen, not threaten. The captain of the fleet sounded stunned. How did you do that? We cannot, but the human voice answered calmly. Technology grows when understanding grows. You must learn, not fear. The captain swallowed his pride. Then, teach us. A long silence. Finally, the human said, we will, but first clear your minds. You are not the only lives at risk. Slowly, the shield bubble released. Engines restarted. Weapons remained locked. A lesson learned without a shot. Back on Harlan 7, Seller smiled softly. Humans show strength without harm. Drin nodded. That is true power. Rollo exhaled. I hope everyone else can learn. Then something new appeared on the scanner. Not a parasite, not a fleet, a message frequency, ancient and unknown. It repeated one slow pulse. Drin's eyes widened. This does not belong to the parasites. Sealer leaned closer. Then who? The scanner displayed coordinates deep beyond known charts. Then a line of text formed, translated slowly. We watch the return of Terran. The old chain breaks. The storm will open. Rollo's voice trembled. Who sent that? Drin whispered. Someone older. Then all of us. Seller felt cold. Warn the council. Something bigger sleeps beyond this. And far away, the Terran ship changed course sharply, toward the unknown signal. The galaxy was not ready, but humanity was already moving. Harlan 7 had not felt this alert in decades. The warning from the unknown signal still pulsed in the background of their scanners. Even after the Terran ship's interventions, the station's crew could feel something greater approaching, something older than the galaxy itself. Commander Seller paced the control dome, her boots lightly tapping the metal floor. She had learned to trust her instincts over calm readings. Today, instincts shouted danger. You can feel it too, she said softly to Drin, who floated beside her, analyzing the signal. Drin nodded. Yes, this is not like the parasites. Those were machines, predictable. This is something else, something intelligent. Rollo hovered near the main console, tapping through the scanner logs repeatedly. His eyes widened as he noticed an unusual pattern in the energy pulses. It's sending signals, like a language, not just pulses. Someone is alive there, Sailor exhaled. Then we are not alone in this. Yet again. Before the crew could speculate further, the main scanners flickered. A massive shadow appeared beyond the system. Even in the blackness of space, its outline was unmistakable. Massive armor, sharp edges, and familiar engine glows. The Terran ship. But something was different. It was not alone. Surrounding it were smaller ships, sleek, silver vessels moving in perfect formation. Rollo gasped. They're accompanying them? Drin's voice was quiet but firm. Allies. Humans have allies we have never seen before. This changes everything. Sailor quickly ordered, open the channel. I want to hear from them. The screen shimmered and the familiar human officer appeared. But this time his face was lined with seriousness. Around him were other officers, humans and non-human allies working calmly but efficiently. Commander Sailor, the officer began, we detected a far greater threat beyond your system. The parasite network is only a symptom. The entity sending signals to your scanners is older and more dangerous than anything alive or machine-made you have encountered. Rollo leaned closer. Older than the parasites? Yes, the human officer replied. It has been dormant for centuries. Its detection of our return is why it is stirring now. Our mission is to confront it before it reaches your system. Sailor took a deep breath. How can we help? The officer's eyes softened slightly. You can help by keeping your station safe. We will share defensive protocols and coordinate scans, but we will engage the threat outside your borders. Your people are not ready to face this directly. Drin frowned. Ready or not, how far is it from here? The officer pointed to a holographic map. A jagged mass of darkness moved silently through charted space, almost invisible to normal scanners. It was massive, far larger than any ship or asteroid they had ever recorded. It is moving slowly but deliberately. By the time it reaches your system, it will have spread influence over nearby sectors. Rollo's hands shook slightly. Influence? It can control or corrupt machines, the officer explained. It can absorb energy and information. It learns quickly. That is why our drones and systems will operate in coordinated pulses. It cannot adapt fast enough to everything at once. Sailor's expression hardened. Then we must prepare immediately. Share the protocols. The officer nodded and began sending detailed instructions to Harlan 7. The crew quickly absorbed new scanner codes, shield frequencies, and drone synchronization techniques. Within hours, the station had reorganized itself for full defensive readiness. Even as the crew worked, the alien scientists could not hide their awe. Drin examined the drone patterns being sent from the Terran fleet. Every drone is synchronized to the second, he said. The timing, perfect. They are predicting the entity's actions before they happen. Rollo was amazed. It's like they know the future. Not the future, Drin corrected. They have observed patterns. They anticipate, learn, and act faster than the entity can respond. Precision is their greatest weapon. Sailor watched the stars beyond the station window. And yet they do not attack blindly. They wait for the right moment. Discipline without aggression. Rollo's voice was quiet, almost reverent. They are perfect. Sailor shook her head. Not perfect, but prepared. That is what matters. Hours later, the Terran ship moved closer to the source of the unknown signal. Its engines glowed softly as smaller drones detached and sped toward the jagged mass. They scanned, pulsed energy, and returned, feeding information to the main ship. The alien crew watched with growing admiration. Even the engineers who had repaired countless systems in their lives felt small compared to the precision and coordination of the human-led fleet. Suddenly, the scanners on Harlan 7 detected a spike. Energy surged from the jagged mass. The station trembled slightly as the entity began to respond to the human probes. Drin pointed at the screen. It's aware of them. It's trying to push back. The human officer's voice came through clearly. Do not panic. This is expected. Its shields will flare. It will try to adapt. Our window is when its defenses briefly lower after the first pulse. Sailor instructed her crew to remain calm. We follow their instructions exactly. No deviations. Lives depend on it. The station held its breath as the Terran drones launched synchronized attacks. Energy beams cut into the jagged mass. The entity's shields flared brilliantly, then collapsed for a single instant. Just one blink. Now, the officer commanded. The drones fired again, their beams perfectly timed with the shield's brief vulnerability. The entity howled through space, energy cracking like thunder but could not stop the assault. The alien crew watched, hearts pounding, as the massive object shivered under the precise hits. Rollo whispered, "It's working," Drin nodded. "Faster than we imagined." Sealer's voice was steady. "Keep watching. Record every moment. Learn." The Terran ship continued its methodical assault. Even when the entity's energy pulses grew more erratic, the drones adjusted in real time. Every strike anticipated a reaction. Every movement was calculated. The alien crew realized something remarkable. Humans had turned patience into a weapon. They did not rush, did not panic. They simply waited for the perfect moment to act, and then struck with absolute precision. Hours passed. Slowly, the entity began to weaken. Its energy pulses became uneven. Its jagged mass fragmented under coordinated attacks. Sparks and streams of corrupted energy scattered into the void. Rollo's eyes widened. "It's falling apart." Drin allowed himself a small smile. "Yes. That is the result of experience, observation, and discipline. Not raw strength alone," Sealer spoke softly. "And now we see why humans are returning. Not to conquer, not to dominate, but to protect." The Terran officer's voice came over the comm again. "We have neutralized the immediate threat. Some energy remains, but it will not reach inhabited systems. Your region is safe for now. Continue monitoring and follow the new protocols. We will remain nearby, ready for any recurrence." Rollo exhaled a long breath. "They did it." "Without killing, without destruction beyond what was necessary," Drin nodded. "They acted with responsibility. That is power worthy of respect," Sailor smiled faintly. "And yet, they do not linger. They move on to the next danger. Their duty is not for glory, it is for life itself." The alien crew watched as the Terran ship and its allies slipped away into the darkness. Their engines pulsed once like a heartbeat, and then they vanished into warp space. Rollo whispered, "One blink, and they are gone," Drin agreed. "Yes, one blink, and their presence changed everything." Sealer stood silently for a moment, her gaze on the stars. "The galaxy will remember this day, and humanity's return is only beginning." The alien crew returned to their workstations, scanning, recording, and preparing. They knew the peace they had felt before was gone. But now fear was tempered by hope. If humans were willing to act with precision and care, perhaps other systems could survive the dangers lurking in the dark. Rollo finally sat down, exhausted but inspired. "I want to learn from them. I want to see how they think, how they act." Drin placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then you will. They leave lessons behind even if they do not stay." Sailor spoke softly, almost to herself. "The Terrans are more than legends now. They are reality, and we must be ready for what comes next." The station hummed with energy, no longer just a research outpost. It had become a witness, a student, and a part of something much larger. Outside, the void remained silent, but the galaxy had shifted. An ancient presence had been challenged. A powerful force had been awakened to defend life, and somewhere beyond the stars the Terran fleet moved forward, vigilant, precise, and ready for the storms yet to come. Harlan 7 had grown quiet after the Terran ship's last departure. The alien crew moved through their routines, but their minds were still alive with awe. They could not stop thinking about the humans, their precision, their patience, and the calm power that had saved countless lives. Commander Sailor stood at the observation window staring at the stars. Each point of light reminded her of how vast and dangerous the galaxy truly was. Yet the humans had moved through it with care, their actions a demonstration of discipline and responsibility. "You are thinking too much," said Drin, floating silently beside her. "It is easy to admire. It is harder to understand." Sailor smiled faintly. "I want to understand, so our systems can survive the next time." Rollo hovered nearby, scrolling through the data the Terrans had left behind. Their upgraded scanner codes, the shield patterns, and the drone protocols filled his screen. "If we implement all of this, we can detect threats before they become real," he whispered. "We might even protect other systems," Drin nodded. "That is the purpose. They teach through action and leave tools behind. Knowledge is their gift." Far beyond Harlan 7, the Terran fleet moved in formation. The massive main ship led the way, smaller ships and drones guarding the flanks. Each vessel moved with purpose, engines glowing softly, lights reflecting in the emptiness. The human officer from earlier stood on the command deck, observing a holographic map of nearby star systems. His expression was calm, but his mind worked quickly. He knew that dangers similar to the parasite network could appear anywhere. His fleet's mission was clear: protect, monitor, and intervene where needed. "Commander," one junior officer said, "should we contact other civilizations? They may not understand how to handle threats like this." The officer shook his head gently. "Not yet. Let them learn on their own first. Intervention too soon can create dependence. We show strength through guidance, not domination." Another officer asked, "And the entity in the unknown system? Could it rise again?" "Possibly," the officer answered, "but it will not reach the systems we just secured. Our goal is to delay, contain, and teach. Knowledge, preparation, and patience are our weapons." Back on Harlan 7, the alien crew began implementing the new protocols. Every sensor was recalibrated, shields were strengthened, and drone routines were tested repeatedly. Engineers floated through the low-gravity bays, carefully adjusting equipment. Medics prepared for emergencies, though their hands trembled less than before. Rollo worked tirelessly, memorizing patterns from the Terran instructions. "I can't believe how precise their calculations are," he murmured. "Every move is timed to the second." Drin hovered beside him, nodding. "That is why they succeed. Preparation and observation. Never haste, never recklessness," Sealer addressed the crew. "Today we are safer because of humans. Tomorrow we may face other dangers. We must use what they taught us wisely, and we must teach others as they would have us." The crew nodded. They were inspired but aware. Responsibility weighed on them. In the distance, beyond known charts, another entity stirred. This one was older, darker, and larger than the parasites the Terrans had destroyed. Its energy pulses were irregular, but they carried intelligence and intent. The Terran fleet approached cautiously, scanning and analyzing. Drones detached, moving in elegant arcs around the entity. They pulsed energy, gathering data, feeding it back to the main ships. The human officer observed calmly. "We will not rush," he said. "We act only when we understand. One mistake, and this could spread uncontrolled." A young officer asked nervously, "But what if it attacks first?" The commander smiled faintly. "Then we defend with precision. We do not panic. That is the difference between survival and destruction." And so the Terrans moved silently, efficiently, and without fear. Meanwhile, Harlan 7 received signals from nearby stations. Other alien systems had detected parasites. They had barely survived. Messages requested help, guidance, and information. Sealer quickly sent the upgraded scanner codes, drone routines, and shield protocols to these stations. "Implement immediately," she instructed. "Follow the patterns carefully. One wrong move can allow the parasites to return." Drin added, "We do not need to fight them ourselves. We provide knowledge, not recklessness. The Terrans will continue the intervention beyond our region." Rollo transmitted the information and watched nervously. "Do you think we'll ever see the Terrans again?" Selar paused. "Perhaps. But what matters is that we learned from them. We now carry a piece of their method, their discipline, and their responsibility." Days passed, and the alien stations began to implement Terran methods. The parasites were detected before fully waking. Systems survived attacks that would have destroyed them before. Life continued, but it was different now. Systems were safer, crews more prepared, and knowledge had spread. Harlan 7 in particular had become a hub of learning. Scientists and engineers from other systems contacted Sealer's station to discuss techniques and protocols. They exchanged information and prepared for the unknown. Drin watched the incoming transmissions with satisfaction. "They learn quickly," he said. "Perhaps faster than we expected." Rollo nodded eagerly. "We may even train our own fleet someday." Sealer smiled faintly. "Yes, but we must remember what we learned first. Patience, discipline, and care are as important as power." Far away, the Terran fleet continued moving deeper into uncharted space. They encountered other sleeping threats, unknown entities, and remnants of ancient technologies. Each time they acted with precision, neutralizing danger before it could spread. The human officer often reflected on their purpose. He knew that each intervention carried consequences, but he also knew the galaxy needed guardians, beings willing to act responsibly and decisively. "Our presence is not for glory," he told his crew. "It is for life itself. One blink can change everything, but only if we act with understanding and control." The fleet continued its journey silently, a protective shadow in the void. Back on Harlan 7, life began to stabilize. Crew members had regained confidence in their systems. The upgraded scanners and drones operated flawlessly, and though the Terran fleet had left their system, the lessons remained. Seller gathered the crew in the control dome. "Today we learned more than survival," she said. "We learned responsibility. Strength is not enough. Knowledge, preparation, and careful action define true power." Drin added, "We have seen humans act without haste, without destruction beyond necessity. That is something we must remember." Rollo spoke softly. "I hope one day we can act like them, without fear, without error." Sailor looked at him kindly. "You can. One day all of you can. But first you must learn patience. Observe carefully. Act wisely. That is the lesson the Terrans left behind." The stars outside twinkled quietly, but the galaxy had shifted. Ancient forces had been confronted. Dangers had been neutralized, and life had been protected. Yet everyone understood that the galaxy remained vast, and threats could emerge anywhere. Harlan 7 was no longer just a research station. It had become a center of learning, a hub of preparation, and a witness to humanity's return. The crew felt small yet capable. They had seen true strength and had been given the tools to survive. Salar finally allowed herself to rest for a moment, gazing at the horizon of stars. "We are part of something larger now," she whispered. "Humans act first and we follow wisely. That is our duty." Rollo leaned against the glass, exhausted but inspired. "One blink, and everything changed." Drin nodded. "Yes, one blink. And the galaxy learned that humans stand first, not for themselves, but for all life." And far beyond in the darkness of space, the Terran fleet moved on, silent, precise, vigilant, and ready for the storms yet to come. The galaxy had witnessed the return of humanity. It was no longer a legend. It was a force of protection, guidance, and hope. For Harlan 7, for neighboring systems, and for countless worlds yet to be discovered. The lesson was clear. When humans act, they act with purpose, precision, and responsibility. One blink, and life survived. One blink, and the galaxy remembered.